Most people over 40 aren't actually building wealth. They're managing a mess. You've spent 20 years climbing the ladder, only to realize you've become the high-paid janitor of your own complicated life. You're paper-rich, but decision-poor. Your net worth might be higher than it's ever been. But your financial anxiety? That's increasing too. You feel more fragile now than you did when you had nothing. If this sounds like you, you have hit the complexity trap. And most gurus will tell you to add more. More stocks, more side hustles, more tracking apps, more crypto. They're wrong. In your 20s, you win by addition. After 40, you only win by subtraction. Today, I'm going to show you why the most financially stable people I know are doing less, not more. Because at this stage of the game, stability isn't a math problem. It's a subtraction problem. You've done the work. You've checked the boxes. You've survived the layoffs, the career pivots, and the family expansions. But as the numbers in your bank account grew, so did the noise. You probably have 4 old 401s from previous employers sitting in forgotten portals. 3 different high-yield savings accounts you meant to organize last year. A handful of apps for passive income that require active worrying, and a stack of monthly subscriptions you forgot were even active. You earn more now than you did at 25, but it feels less stable. Onto you're running faster just to stay in the same place, wondering why the financial freedom everyone promised feels like a second full-time job. It's a weight you carry every Sunday night. The feeling that if one piece of this complex machine breaks, the whole thing grinds to a halt. You don't have a financial plan. You have a collection of chores. We've been conditioned to believe that sophisticated means better. We think a 15-page color-coded spreadsheet makes us more secure. But after 40, complexity is the enemy of execution. Every moving part in your financial life is a potential point of failure. Every extra account is a password to lose, a statement to check, a tax form to track down. I call this the complexity tax, and most people over 40 are paying it every single month without realizing it. There's one rule most people resist. Wealth growth is actually less important than risk compression once you hit this stage. In your 20s, no, you play offense because you have time to recover from a 50% loss. In your 40s and 50s, you play sustainable defense. If your system is too complicated to manage in 10 minutes a month on a single sheet of paper, it isn't a strategy. It's a liability. You don't need a more aggressive portfolio. You need a more aggressive simplicity strategy. To fix this, we move toward what I call the Minimalist Money framework. This isn't about being cheap or living a small life. It's about being unshakable. Note, there are 3 principles. And there's a ratio I'll show you in a moment that ties all 3 together and makes the whole thing click. Principle 1. Consolidate the chaos. If your money is scattered, your attention is scattered. You should not have orphaned retirement accounts sitting in forgotten portals. Move them into 1 or 2 central hubs. 1 bank for checking, 1 for savings. If you have to log into 5 different portals just to see your net worth, you don't have an ecosystem. You have a scavenger hunt. By narrowing the surface area of your finances, you reduce the cognitive load required to manage them. And cognitive load is the silent killer of financial confidence. But consolidation isn't just about accounts. It's about protection. It's not about emergency funds anymore. That's a term for people starting out. At 40 and beyond, you need a structural moat, a liquid, accessible buffer that ensures 1 bad year, 1 corporate restructuring, or 1 health scare can't erase 20 years of progress. This is the price you pay for never having to sell your long-term investments during a market crash. 1 operating hub, 1 protection layer. That's principle 1. Let me show you what this actually looks like. Imagine someone earning $150,000 a year. They've got 7 financial accounts, 2 investment apps, a crypto wallet, and a subscription to a portfolio tracker. On paper, diversified. In reality, they spend 4 hours a month just maintaining the system. And when the market dropped last year, they panicked because they couldn't even see their full picture fast enough to make a calm decision. Now imagine that same person with 3 accounts, 1 clear allocation, and a 6-month buffer sitting in cash. Same income, completely different experience of money. That's the difference consolidation makes. Not more money, more clarity. Principle 2. Simplify your growth engine. So this is where high earners make their biggest mistake. After 40, your investment strategy should get simpler, not more complex. I know that goes against everything the finance industry tells you. More diversification, more alternative assets, more rebalancing, more dashboards, more alerts. But the most stable portfolios after 40 aren't the most diversified. They're the most understood. If you can't explain every investment you own in one sentence, you own too many. If your allocation strategy requires a spreadsheet to maintain, it's too complex. You don't need 20 winning stocks. You need 3 winning behaviors: consistent contribution, low fees, and total boredom. If your portfolio requires you to check the news every morning, it's too complex. 2 to 3 asset classes. Clear purpose for each. Rebalanced once a year. That's your entire growth engine. Principle 3. Compress and create optionality. This principle has 2 sides. The first side is expense compression. And compression is not deprivation. Deprivation is for people who haven't made it yet. Compression is for the masters. It's about ruthlessly removing what I call phantom expenses. The lifestyle creep that adds 0 joy, but requires high maintenance. This isn't about the price of coffee. It's about the second car you rarely drive, the club membership you don't use, the status symbols that have become anchors. The second side, and this is the real payoff, is what compression buys you. Optionality. Stability isn't a number on a screen. It's the ability to say no to a toxic boss, a soul-crushing project, or a lifestyle that no longer fits you. If you can't walk away from a paycheck for 6 months without panic, you aren't wealthy. You're a high-status hostage. Minimalist money rules are designed to buy you back your no. So how do we actually measure all of this? That we stop looking at net worth as the primary metric, and we start looking at the stability ratio. The math is simple. Predictable income versus lifestyle rigidity. If your lifestyle is rigid, meaning it requires 90% of your peak income just to pay the bills, you're fragile. One dip in the economy and you're underwater. But if you compress your expenses and simplify your needs, you lower the bar for what enough looks like. If you can cover 110% of your minimalist life with predictable, a low-effort income, you're invincible. You're no longer working for the bank or the tax man. You're working for yourself. Now here's the part nobody talks about. At this age, your greatest financial asset isn't your ROI. It's your time to recovery. By simplifying your rules and cutting the dead weight, you increase the speed at which you can react to life's inevitable pivots. When you have fewer must-dos, you have more can-dos. Run what I call the one-sentence audit for every account, on every investment, every recurring expense. Write one sentence explaining why it exists. If you can't, it probably shouldn't. Review your finances quarterly, not daily. Constant monitoring creates anxiety, not control. Set 4 dates a year. Review everything on those dates. Ignore the noise in between, and automate the discipline. If a rule requires willpower to maintain, it will fail. Automate savings. Automate investments. Automate bill payments. Then remove yourself from the daily equation. But a word of caution. Because if I stop here, I'd be doing what every other finance channel does, giving you clean rules without the messy truth. Minimalism without margin is not stability. It's fragility dressed up as discipline. I know someone who did everything right on paper, consolidated down to 2 accounts, simple allocation, compressed expenses to the bone, looked perfect. Then a medical emergency hit, $40,000 in unexpected costs. And because they'd simplified without building margin, they had to liquidate investments at a loss during a down market to cover it. They didn't have a stability problem. They had a margin problem. Simply having less isn't the goal. The goal is having enough with a massive buffer. True minimalism means your financial life is so streamlined it runs on autopilot while you focus on what actually matters: your health, your family, your legacy. It's not about neglect. It's about intentional focus. If you still spend your Saturdays worrying about asset allocation or compulsively checking balances, you're still a janitor. You've just moved into a smaller building. The goal is to stop being the janitor entirely. Simplicity is the architecture. Margin is the foundation. You need both. Stability is subtraction. Every time you remove a useless financial decision, you gain a unit of freedom. The world will try to sell you complexity because complexity is profitable for them. The banks want more accounts. The advisors want more tailored strategies. The stores want more essential products. Complexity is their business model. Simplicity is your escape hatch. The person who wins after 40 isn't the one with the best portfolio. It's the one with the fewest must-dos, who can explain their entire financial life in 3 minutes and sleep well because of it. The next decade rewards the quiet, the simple, and the prepared. If you're ready to stop managing a mess and start architecting a life, start today. Delete one useless financial app. Cancel one unused subscription. Consolidate one old account. You've already earned the money. Now it's time to earn the peace that's supposed to come with it.